Hey guys, Starfinity here, and I have got to talk about this movie. So recently, this past weekend, Five Nights at Freddy's 2 has hit theaters and made a lot of money over the weekend when you look at their budget. So a very successful movie. And I got to see it on Thursday. I also got a cool poster, free poster that went along with my ticket. I'll put an image of it right here. But I got to see it on Thursday night, and at that point I had seen the reviews have been, the critic reviews were not very good. So I was anxious to see what this movie was going to be like, because as a movie fan, and also as a Five Nights at Freddy's fan, I had these two polar opposite sides of me, just kind of rooting for this movie, hoping that it's going to be a good movie, but also, I kind of knew it was going to be a good experience, a good fan experience. And I had a full theater with me, and we reacted to the film. A lot of applause, screaming, not too noisy though. I got to enjoy the film itself. But it was a great crowd, and I'm glad I got to see it that way because this movie has been very difficult to really put my opinion on because I don't know if I don't know what I think about it. So let me just tell you my thoughts when I got right out of the theater. So I had my first thought, and the one that I keep saying to myself, is that I enjoyed this movie way more than the first one. As a fan, I enjoyed it way more than the first movie. I felt like the first movie, although I did like that slow build up to William Afton in the end. I did enjoy the pacing of this one much more. It kept me engaged and kept me looking around, and it was just much easier to watch, I'll say. It was very fast paced, a lot more action was going on, a lot more kills, and so that was really the best part about this movie, I think, was the pacing, the kills, and they upped the budget, so they have more locations that you're going to. The world building is better in this one, even though I thought it was pretty good in the first one. However, when it comes to being a movie, that is where I am fighting myself here, because I've had a couple years to think about the first movie and how it works as a fan experience as well, like, nostalgia and Easter eggs and stuff like that. But as a movie, how does it work? And I thought it worked pretty well as a movie. It had a first, a second, and a third act. It was very structured, even though there wasn't much going on. It was a very personal story with Mike and Abby, and I that's what I liked about it, was that it was a very human story. And that's kind of my problem, my biggest problem with the sequel, is that there's not as much of a personal story here. It's more of your casual FNAF story of you have that kind of personal story with Charlotte and Vanessa, but they don't go as deep into that as I expected them to, because in the trailers they had this dream sequence with William and Vanessa, and I was expecting that to, like, she would be having that dream multiple times in the film. However, that's just one scene, and so we don't get much out of that. And afterwards, it kind of feels like Vanessa's going in the direction of she's getting pushed away from, these are spoilers in case you haven't seen the movie, but she gets pushed away from Mike, and her brother Michael Afton, he's in the film, and he kind of is carrying on their father's legacy. And so at the end of the second film, again, if you haven't seen it, don't listen to this, but at the end of the second film, Vanessa gets possessed by the marionette. And so that's a very interesting direction that they're taking it. But again, I'm missing that human element, that emotional story, that emotional hook for me. And I got a little bit of that in the opening sequence. I thought the opening sequence was probably the best part of the film, because it had that, like, emotion. You had that hook of, like, okay, I care for this child now, so where are you going to take this? And they take it in an interesting direction, whereas aside from kids in the animatronics in the first film, where they are still kids, they are friendly kids, they just are controlled by William Afton. The marionette, aka Charlotte, is not, and so this is all willfully being done by her. She is possessing these people, and taking out the people that she's getting revenge on. And I guess that kind of fits with the character of the marionette, of getting this revenge, but I didn't really see it as a villain character in the games. And so taking it in that direction in this movie was very interesting, and I hope it's something that they build upon in the third film. I'm sure the marionette's going to be sticking around, and I'm so glad, because that was probably, again, one of my favorite parts of the movie, was the marionette and the way that it worked in the film. But I'm still confused on how I think of this as a movie. Structurally, and the writing, I don't know. I think Scott Cawthon, the creator of the games, benefited from a co-writer in the first film. In the first film, you had more exposition, you had more direction of, like, this is where we're going in the next scene, and this is where we're going in the next scene. Whereas in this one, you kind of just moved from scene to scene. And that's really how a game works. Like, this movie, the Five Nights at Freddy's 2, the film, is written like a video game, and it makes sense because it's written by Scott Cawthon, who made the video games. And so for a movie, I feel like you need to have that co-writer who knows how to write film, and you can also have the creator. It worked with the first film, but you need that kind of that teamwork to be able to take the ideas of the creator of the game and adapt them to the writer of the film. And so they can work together on that. So it doesn't all have to be on the creator of the game's back, you know? So that's just my problems with the film. And I might need to watch it a few more times. It opened exclusively in theaters this time, rather than like the first movie being both dropped in theaters and on Peacock at the same time. This one's exclusively in theaters, so I don't think I'll see it again in theaters. So I think I'll just wait until it comes on streaming, and that'll probably be soon. So I'll watch it a couple more times, and then I'll probably have my final thoughts on the film. Because this one is very interesting. Like, I just don't know what to think about it right now. Because, and you know, there are movies like that where I need time to form my opinion on it. But right now, it was an enjoyable film that I hope we get that third one made. I'm very excited for that one. However, as a movie, it, like, structurally, it was not as structured as the first film, if that makes sense. I still like this second one more than the first, but if I were to show somebody a Five Nights at Freddy's movie, it would be the first film, in my opinion. And the casual viewer will like the first film better than this one, but the fans would love the sequel better than the first, because there's more Easter eggs, there's more fan service, and when people say fan service, that usually is negative, but you know, it's very positive a lot of the time. So yeah, that's my thoughts on Five Nights at Freddy's 2. Hope you enjoyed. If you did, make sure to subscribe and hit the bell to be notified of every video, and keep your eye on my channel, because I'm uploading every week. I don't really have a schedule yet. I'm just waiting to see how the response to these videos are, like what types of videos I'd like to do. So I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.